Hello, hello, fellow fair reviewers. Let's talk about a little trip back to about 10 years ago. I had I have had the distinct pleasure of watching certain channels throughout my life. In the '90s, late '90s, and early 2000s, I had the prestigious, very prestigious uh, uh, availability to watch the Sci-Fi Channel back in its heyday before it became all movie of the week stuff with Boa versus Python and Mega Shark versus Squid and whatnot. So this feels like a product, a really specific sci-fi product of its time, and by like I don't know, but I'm pretty sure these people did a lot of things. Um, Whoever made this, I believe I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel when it first premiered. I think. I like to think that I think, but yeah, it was a little indie film made by Wolfie or just Wolf, I guess, and winner of Best Film at Dragon Con. Yeah. No, so I was reading the back of this thing. It's like, yeah, right. Official. I'm like, no. Officially, the first. No, I really doubt that. I doubt this thing's the first of anything. Uh, Strange Frame. I've only seen it like twice. I've seen the trailer for it quite a few times, and I've seen some deleted clips and stuff were pretty good. Um, but I don't know how to tell you this. It's like where to start. Well, let's say if you had the voice actress Claudia Black and Tara Strong flirt with each other with rather questionable animation, and you have some idea of what this is. It's at its heart is a love story in space. Well, not exactly in space, but in the far off future of the 28th century, pretty much. So they have a lot of super tech and interstellar travel, blah blah blah. So that's the general background. Uh, Genetic manipulations for the peasants, more or less, so they can go into the mines on Ganymede or whatever have you, far off, celestial body in the solar system to mine it. So everyone's pretty much born for their place or their job or vocation, might have you, and some people don't like that, as you do, and so these two characters, uh, I forget what their names were, but the, again, I only saw it twice, and I saw this last night, and then I've been working all day, and I just came home, and I just turned on the videos, and I'm like, oh, I didn't really have a chance to play this again. Our hero Noah, by Tara Strong, singer songwriter, falls in love with a beautiful saxophone Parker, Claudia Black. Parker. So Noah and or Naa and Parker, Naia and Parker. So those are your lead care. Here are our leads, ladies and gentlemen. A saxophonist and a lower class and middle class meet together. One's a saxophonist, the other one is a no, it's the saxophonist. The saxophonist is the rioter or whatever, the people for oppression, and the middle classer is just kind of there as the love interest, really, and hero later on. Yeah. Again, not a whole lot happened in this story, but they try to pad it out with social dynamics and oppression and and interesting space travel that's not really all that sophisticated. Standard space travel. It's not the Enterprise. Um, is this weird side plot with side characters that are trying to make it across, the solar system and the Junker is falling apart. Think Firefly if it was only manned by two people, pretty much by the old priest dude if he was a mechanic, and by the prostitute lady. I forget what her name is. If she was a small winged creature, you know, and also knew basic mechanics, and these people were dirt poor, and their ship was falling apart, as you do. So basically, if Firefly was just that, then that's pretty much what you got as a side story. It's like, I gotta get to such and such planet over there. Like, okay. So then they come into the story proper, and it's like, okay, so I guess they have a backstory because it goes parallel with our leads of what's going on planet and then off planet, you know, with the spaceship. So I guess there's more background and color and depth to the spaceship that she uses to ferry her across to the other planet to find her love, because in the midst of this turmoil, strife, upheaval, and rage against the machine, uh, the saxophonist, Nia, I think, or whatever, she gets this contract with this big celebrity, but her lover, Claudia Black, gets thrown out of the band. So the little band of like 4 people go on, go big. Some of them, one guy apparently dies through ODing in an alley somewhere, and someone else dies when a spaceship gets shot down in a crossfire and from some war or something. And so the lead vocalist, saxophonist, then gets, I think it was saxophonist, I forget, but anyway, the lead singer, whatever girl, which is Tara Strong's character, gets taken to the mind reading facility where her mind gets copied to this synthetic download clone of her, and it goes on tour, and does all the mind reading stuff and basically steals her dream. I think of that episode of Black Mirror with that, I forget what her name is, but the little girl has like the little robot that has a complete copy of her mind, and then they unlock it by just selecting it, and it's like, oh, I have my whole brain now, and I'm in this little doll body, and they go and they free the real Skylar S something, I forget, Stephanie or whatever, and so that whole plot line, it's like that, where it's like this copied mind thing, while the real one's in like a coma state, being sucked dry for all our creativity. So Claudia Black's character goes on this epic rescue ish mission and ish happy ending ish. It's not really 100%. You kind of have to tilt your head and squint that this is a happy ending, because it's not really outright stated, because we get overview dialogue, whatever narration dialogue at the end. It feels like, I don't know if it's supposed to be an actual conversation or not. Again, I don't know, but we get dialogue and then the end. But what about the side characters? What about the big evil company? What about the strife in the streets? What about all that? What about the crazy AI that's hooked up to the ship? It's over. It's done with. So it's like, okay, so you're just dropping all these plot lines and thus story over, because our leads are back together. Therefore, you don't have to resolve anything else. So, in the animation, again, can be groundbreakingly visual. Ooh, this is new and different, but it also looks really cheap. Yeah, you could really feel somebody was trying to go for unique, which they got. It's definitely unique. Story-wise, it's also kind of unique, but you can really see the budget in a lot of places where it's like, the CG transitioning, because things are floating there on the screen, and then things are passing by things. There's, scan shots. It all looks very computer generated-y. It looks very, very early 2000s. For 2012, it looks more like it came out in 2002. It really does. That's why I think it's like this is really a product of the Sci-Fi Channel. Let me read you the front here of our stars, people. Tim Curry, Claudia Black, Ron Glass, Cree Summer, Tara Strong, and George Takei, or Decay, however you want to pronounce it. A dreamscape Twitch film, Cutting Edge, Breeze Hilton, deliciously evil, 2 lesbians, 1 saxophone. You've never seen a future like this. No, we haven't. Additional cast: Juliet Landry, Alan Tudyk, Michael Dorn, I think I've heard of him, and Claudia Christian. Yep. And it says here in big bold print on the top, what I was laughing at earlier, just what the doctor ordered, ... The world's first animated lesbian sci-fi film. Period. Huffington Post. No, I highly doubt that. I really do. But it just goes to show, this little known movie, was supposed to be the central love story, was that it's a lesbian love story. And now we have it on the Sci-Fi Channel. Sorry, on the Disney Channel. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. Now it's on the Disney Channel. We have Progression, which is why it's being canceled, even though it's really popular. It's like, yeah, but it's not our brand. Even though it's making us some pretty decent stacks of cash, so we gotta slash it and, put it out on, we only showed it, I think they only showed it once on TV, and back in like early November or October, and then comes out on Disney Plus like a month later or something like that. Ridiculous. But yeah, on the 20th, it's like, again, I'm rooting for it. This, when I saw it come out on DVD, not a DVD, but the trailers for it, I was still watching the Sci-Fi Channel at the time, in 2012. I believe it's 2012. It feels very, very late 90s, early 2000s Sci-Fi Channel. And don't think there were complete CG things. Back in, 91, 92, something like that. There was, it was 92, because that would be the last year. 92, there was the Incredible Crash Test Dummies. I'm still going to get that on DVD. To put in my, in one of my failed pilot section back there. But yes, this is like that, where it's this complete CG thing. So CG has been around, as well as bizarre stories. Once the internet started encroaching, then we can have it now more access. Because my first computer was this desktop thing, with dial-up and fiber optics, I believe we had. And so it was this whole thing, and I got used to the internet and all this stuff more and more. And so you start to see a lot more stuff that isn't on television or on cable, independent works, shorts and all that fun stuff. And by 2012, it wasn't exact animated feature-length movie. This didn't come out in theaters. This wasn't something I went on and saw. Yeah, one for Strange Frame, please. I didn't see this in theaters. So that's on television. if memory holds. If memory holds. Uh, I mean, the late '90s, early 2000s, like exposure. The film, the short film series. I guess you want to call it an anthology or whatever, but the showcase basically. This showcase of different things and stuff that I saw was mind blowing. These are made by just animators in their own homes on their own desktop. The Star Wars special thing I saw presented by Kevin Smith, which I'm still looking for. I mean, that was hilarious to see all these different things just pile up. There were Boba Fett when he takes off his helmet. He's really George Bush. He says, "Surprise." That was hilarious. Um, you know, so I've seen a lot of stuff. So when it says, "Oh, it's the first," all that, I laugh at it because it's like I've seen a lot of stories by that point. By 2012, when I was living at grandma's for like my second year, being alone, post, mom and all that. Again, it was nothing really that 100% special, but I haven't really seen Claudia Black act too much throughout that decade. Because the only thing I've seen her voice act before then for Claudia Black, well, I've seen her on, Farscape, and then later on in the slightly more corny role. Ugh, still makes my eyes roll every time I see it. Is on Stargate, with Brent Browder. But before that, Claudia Black was only in the anime Steel Angel Kurumi. So having only seen her in that, it's like, oh, and Claudia's Black. Oh, and Pitch Black too. But hearing that she's in this thing, I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. And not knowing who Tara Strong was at the time, not for another. Oh, no. 2012 was also the same year that MLP came out, because I remember marathoning it. I think also around the same time. I'm sorry, my memory's a little screwy with the early teens. If MLP came out around that time, but I didn't know who Tara Strong was, but I probably have heard of her through MLP, probably around that time. But yeah, I've seen the Sci-Fi Channel. There was tons of stuff in the Sci-Fi Channel, so saying it's the first lesbian thing or the first like cool sci-fi feature, but yeah, you can't traverse the sci-fi fantasy section without seeing some stuff. And this enjoyably was one of them. It's an interesting thing. It's not, a tour de force of acting and story. It's not Star Wars, people. Trust me, it's not Star Wars by any means. Original trilogy or the prequels. But what it is a good little heartwarming little story about two lovers that meet up during a riot and fall apart due to, contracts and wanting to be famous, and then realizing, there's a techno clone, and I gotta go save her. I gotta find out where she's at and other stuff. And it's a good little story to sit down and watch. It's not that long, honestly. It's like popcorn. It's there for an hour or so, and then you move. It's like good for like a good double feature for something. It's good enough on its own. But if you want to make it a double movie night, that's fine too. It'll make it feel a little bit. Sure, I got more emotional mileage out of The Last Unicorn, honestly. But it's not. The animation at times can look a little cheap and a little bit, not very, quality. But for what it is actually a good story with decent imagination behind it. Nothing feels like some cookie cutter cut out from, but it looks good enough for what it's trying to do. You know, I hope I can say the same when I start making my own movies. You know, it's like the Epic Fight in the Park series. I'm still trying to finish. 10 years later, it's like that Indiana Jones thing. Where a guy says, "Yeah, I waited like 3 years to put the last." It's like a 5 minute short. And he says, "Oh, I did this one thing like 3 years later." And I'm like that, where it's like, or like Database, where it's like it takes a while, years later to finally finish a scene. It's supposed to all take place in the same 30 minutes in one morning. So, we'll get done with that soon. But yeah, Strange Frame, check it out, see if you like it. It's definitely not boring, but what does it say here? A grossing grosses gorgeous gorgeous and engrossing tale dot 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 and embarrassment of riches Twitch film. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, when things kind of like praise things, it's like, I don't know, I think they were smoking weed or something when they're in the theater watching the thing. It's good, but it's not that good. Trust me, even by 2012 standards. But yeah, check it out, see what you think. I mean, the acting is pretty good. I mean, the voice cast is phenomenal. So you get a bit more what you pay for. Granted, I think they splurged more on the voice to pay for the voice cast than they are for the animation. That's probably where it all went. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you for an old classic from back in the day, and by back in the day I mean like 10 years ago, so it's not going to be that old. But yeah, so check it out, and yeah, so I'm glad I have it in my collection. As soon as I have the means to move all that, and I'll put it in the movie section, the independent movie section shelf, if I think I have the room. Not sure, but I will try. Again, I need more space, which I could use your help for if you wish to donate money or SHIB or Bitcoin. Hell, I'll take Bitcoin. Yeah, so if you wish to donate, contact me or whatever, or like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And be sure to comment down below. Yeah, so take care, and as always, see you at the movies.